Yeah.
Hi and welcome, everyone.
Welcome
Welcome.
to today's webinar. And this is the fourth of the series. So from data chaos to agent ready, which will be about our favorite topic, onboarding.
Yeah.
What you need before you, the raw material for all of this amazingness that we have nowadays is still the same: to have data available, high quality data, validated data, up-to-date data, and all of that is onboarding.
Yes.
And we'll walk through the series, but Felicia, some might have seen me. My name is Per Karlberg. I'm one of two founders of Proptech OS. And you are?
Yeah, I'm working in the customer success team in Proptech OS, and I started here about 2 years ago.
You're one of those who knows what actually happens.
Yes.
You're in the real front lines.
Yeah. So I work closely with our existing customers together with the onboarding team. So we work really closely on a daily basis. So I bump into all the issues and both issues and success that we have with the customers.
Yeah, you're the ear to the ground for
Yes.
all things onboarding.
Yeah.
And all things whatever customers actually want to do with Proptech OS.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice to have you.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. The first time I joined in this.
And it's perfect that today is onboarding. So this is the fourth of the webinar series. There is actually quite a few of you have been followed, not your first rodeo, who have seen some of the other webinars. And this is number 4, and we have 2 more before we leave you to have a summer break from the Proptech OS webinars. And in about 2 weeks, we will have the next one. That will be Max and Henrik who will have that. And as for the perceptive viewer, will see that there is a change in topic. That what was the previous change management, and now revenue management. It's a different angle. I think it's quite related. So there are a few who signed up for the change management webinar. I don't think you will be disappointed. So this will be revenue management in a couple of weeks. And then we will have gotten through all the components needed for Agentic Proptech right before midsummer, when we take on safety, security, permissions, policies, and guardrails, which I think is obviously you need to be able to run agents in a capable way, and you need data for it. But on a close second or third place is to have the guardrails and the sort of safety net and the management layer in place. And I think that don't miss out on the last one. I think that's also a key component of all things agentic going forward.
Important for all customers, and this is something that every customer asks about. So I agree. I think it will be.
Yeah, and I think this is
good for everyone.
This is the spring when most people are starting to try out, but to not run into anything, to have compliance, security, and safety late, but to have it to make sure to have it also now when you're testing out, because it's just as much as the functionality itself. But let's get started. And we'll walk this through from the beginning. So what we mean with onboarding, and not just for us, but for Agentic Proptech, and what the different other systems that we interact with, that we onboard, that we integrate with. We'll have a look at. Actually, we'll onboard 2 systems. Live, it's recorded live, but end to end. to see in practice what it looks like now, and we'll talk about what that means going forward.
Yeah.
And then talk about the success factors and what can sometimes prevent success or mitigate success, and then some results before we wrap up. And we're relying on Anna to tell us if we're going too slow or too fast.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get going.
Yes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we mean with onboarding, and just some basics first. I think most of you have been in contact with Proptech OS before, and probably you have seen some of the webinars, so you know the background. But Proptech OS is gathering data from your buildings into Proptech OS system, and through real estate core that we have in Proptech OS, we enable to work with a lot of different systems, and that's the core that we can enable an easy access to all of this data, so that we can work with the agents that we offer, all the tools like applications, and so you can work with data both inside of Proptech OS and with, for example, Claude, ChatGPT, all of these AI assistants. And
so if Proptech OS is layer in between, that makes the agents and applications able to work on real estate data and systems. Onboarding is about, in our case, about just getting all of that data and system aligned, in place, modeled in real estate core, and available for whatever is on top. So this is whatever it is that we are working on, this is what needs to happen first.
Yes. And as you might know, we can integrate almost whatever system. But what we usually do is to integrate BMS systems. That's the most common, and FM systems, also BIM models, which is also the core to get metadata in, IoT, and also business data. So all of these types of systems is possible to integrate into Proptech OS. We can take next slide. And we have connectors to a lot of different systems. Until a couple of months ago, I would say, it was quite hard to build those connectors. I think one connector could take from 1-2 days and up to 1 week or something to build, because it's a lot of work. But nowadays, as we have all of these AI tools and MCP, we enable to build them much more easily. So from having around, I think it was 70 connectors something half year ago, now we have around 90 connectors already. And that's really, really good.
Yeah, and for those keeping track, at the previous webinar, we had around 80.
Yeah,
which
so
was,
maybe
well, I don't know what it was, 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And this is, I think this last year or so has been a series of this amazing, this feeling of things being amazingly fast and accelerating. So and integrations and connected development is definitely one of those areas where it has just gone beyond what we could
expect
or imagine. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's we have these different types of systems that we integrate towards. The tendency has been that the bulk of the time and the problem of getting your digital twins up so that they could be sort of enable everything in the Proptech ecosystem, and now in Agentic Proptech was the BMS systems, which had thousands of objects poorly modeled in individual and local standards and languages. So even if there are these FM systems and ERP systems and IoT systems and metering systems and EMS systems, etc., the bulk of the time for us spent onboarding has been BMS systems, and that's what we're going to show in the demo today. It's the principles are exactly the same for other integrations and other onboarding. But this is what we'll show today.
Yes. But more or less, we can say that we can onboard a lot of different systems, and we have both BMS data. It could be energy data, also FM like work orders, alerts, and business data. So this is core. I think we can head on to next slide. So what do we mean by onboarding? Because onboarding is quite different from different companies. In some companies, onboarding means onboard
getting an invite to the system.
Getting an invite to the system, and now something happened with.
I think
it's sorry. No, but for some companies, it might mean onboard the customer himself. Learning how to work in the system, for example. At Proptech OS, we mainly mean getting your data up and running in Proptech OS. And that's what have been, what do you say? From a couple of months ago, it was really, really manual work for us. And now it became much more automated. But what do we mean? It's to onboard first your building model. That could be the structure backbone of the whole onboarding process, because you get a lot of data from the model, such as locations. For example, when you onboard the sensors and assets, you get location and everything, and you can also make visualizations if you would like to, for example, see a heat map. Now it's a quite small image on the side there, but in Proptech OS you can, if we onboard the model, you will be able to see it in a 3D, like a 3D model, where you can see the room names, we can place the sensors and everything. That makes it easier to work with the data. Also assets, because that's also something which is important. Like assets could be like lightnings, tables, doors, whatever. And the most important, of course, your systems that you have in the buildings. And from there we get devices, like the hardware, that could have a few sensors, one or more, and also actuators. If you have actuators, you have possibility to steer something in the building.
And you have here with the sensor mapping, that's the apart from getting it connected, it's to relate everything to each other, so that the assets are placed in a room which is related to the actual room from the blueprint or the spatial model. And that the telemetry in the BMS system or in the access system or the visitor management system relates to the same room where the assets are and where the lease agreement is related to. So it's not separate disciplines, but to get them related to each other.
And that makes it easier if you work with the data for the agents, for example, to understand if you have a problem somewhere, a leakage, for example, it's easier for the agent to detect where is the leakage, because you have all of that information in protocols. So to get all of this enables a lot of analysis and things you can do with the data. What else? Also included in onboarding is also, of course, data validation. So when we have onboarded, we're always looking through the data and trying to catch if there are any sensors not working, for example. It could be they are not placed We cannot find placement. We work with that, trying to get everything as accurate as possible, so that you should be able to work with it in a good manner. So that's also, of course, a part which is really important. And we call them digital twins, all of these things that we onboard. So a digital twin is not only the building, it's also a sensor or an asset. All parts that you can see inside of Proptech OS are actually digital twins. Yes. And to be able to do this onboarding, of course, we need some things from you guys. First of all is API documentation. When we get that, we can see how to connect the system.
And that is if there is a new system that's not part of the 90 yes. something connectors that we have done already.
Yes, that's important. If you have a system where we already have a connector, we don't need that documentation. Then we probably only need access, which is the login, so that we can actually get access to the data for the system in your buildings. So that's something which is really, really important. And also a tag list. So I would say before Agentic AI and we built the MCP, in the beginning of the projects, we often choose a part of sensors, for example, that we want to onboard. Nowadays, it changed a little bit slowly, that we onboard much more, and then we can choose what kind of sensors to work with, depending on what use cases is good for the customer. So it's different ways of working, of course, but we will still need to have some kind of tag list to know what to onboard in Proptech OS. And sometimes we can get it as a file, and sometimes we can fetch the tags directly from the UI, if you get the UI login, for example, to the system. So it depends a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and this tag list or point exploration, I think that would be an interesting other webinar, at least for some of you. That's also where a lot has changed, where it used to be that there was a quite long process before we got to start to onboard, and now it's more and more becoming part of the same process, where that, as you might imagine, like everything else, is also increasingly automated and increasingly sped up. Trying to understand which 40,000 points you could connect and onboard in a building, and also choosing which 10,000, 2,200 points of them that you should onboard.
And then remove the other tags, which is not important, of course, because you don't want to have a lot of trash in Proptech OS. That's important. It's also important to get placement, so that we can place, for example, a sensor in the correct room. So that's something that we would need. And also good to have a contact person. It could be either a person at your company, or if you have a contact person at the system provider, that's in many cases the best, because then we can get direct contact. Our developers can speak directly to other developers, and then we can, because it could be questions that comes up, to be able to connect, of course, when we should get the access and everything like that. So if we have a contact, if you have good contact with your system vendors, it's often something that brings more success. That's my experience.
Yeah, I think we'll get back to that when we see how the rest of the process is. It's increasingly what is left is collaborating with the vendor or the maintainer of the building or the system.
Yeah. And important to mention as well, for every customer we have, we always dedicate one of our onboarding engineers, so that we have one main onboard engineer that keep track of the data, knows about your account and your buildings. As well as you have a dedicated customer success manager, of course. But the onboarding engineer is the one that works with the onboarding of this data and makes the validation together with the customer success manager.
The expert.
Yes. And you always have the support if it's questions. The onboarding engineer is there to help out and walk you through all necessary steps. I think that's it for this.
That's about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think we will touch upon this and get back to it as we go. I think the onboarding process and what we mean and what is difficult and what is easy. I think it when we exemplify it a little bit, I think it will be less abstract and it will be easier to understand what we mean and what actually happens. But in order to show what we're doing and what we're doing now, we're going to show in two ways Systema Machina, which it was part of the original idea of what we would do with Proptech OS when we end with Real Estate Core to have this system that should be able to learn how all the OT data that you have as a property owner, how that data should be modeled in a concise and a canonical way. We are obviously religious about Real Estate Core. It's what we have been fortunate enough to be involved in building and making. So for us to systematize and to model and to sort of to straighten up and to refine your data means taking it and modeling it into Real Estate Core, so that when you onboard one building and a system in one building, it becomes exactly comparable and it becomes modeled in exactly the same way as all your other buildings and all your other systems, regardless of what the underlying data is, whether it's we have 90 of those connectors, whether it's a Schneider system or a BACnet system or a Modbus system that no one has touched for 25 years. Once it's modeled in Real Estate Core and onboarded and connected, they become completely comparable. So we had this idea before AI in the current form existed that if we just keep going and onboard and model our the buildings and systems that we get and make sure that we save the before and after, at some point, probably way ahead in the future, we thought, we would be able to teach the machine to do this. And now we have, and we, being from Sweden, we call this not Systema Natura that Carl Linné made, but Systema Machina. So the Systema Machina is our model of taking tags and translating them into Real Estate Core in an automated way. So the way we are doing this, I think there are many others who have attacked this question or this problem in different ways. So we are doing it with a text embedding model that we have trained from scratch. So we have, since we started 2019, or we actually started before we founded the company, we started in 2018, we have hand modeled millions of tags.
Yeah.
We started, the first building that we did took, I think, almost a month when we did it the first time. We did everything for the first time. And since after a year or so, the tools that we built, that was not AI tools, didn't exist at the time, made it that we could have it still hand modeled, but with we had a hammer and not an automated machine. So we have some tools that sped up and took it from a month to a week or a couple of days. And we did that with increasingly sort of efficient tools. but we did that for years. And now we have taken a million or two of those tags that we have done by hand, that we know are good. So we know the tag from various systems and different countries. We have onboarded buildings in 5 continents and in with many millions, and we took some of them so that it would be a sample that would be wide enough to be representative. And we did this. We put up what's called an embedding space, an embedding model that we trained. So that's essentially, I don't know what this next one says. Yeah, it's essentially like building a map. We have about a couple of millions of known places on the real estate core map that we have built up. And this is a map, not in a map in longitude and latitude, but a map in an embedding space with a lot of dimensions, not 2 like longitude and latitude, but with 1,536 dimensions that make up this space of the different of what tags could be. And what we have done with that space that we have created is that we have trained the model to put a couple of million of known places into that map. So we know that in a tag that is placed on this location, on this embedding space, on this map, we know what we have manually modeled that, so that we know that a point in space over here is a supply air temperature sensor, and we know that the point over here is a door lock actuator. And we have not 2 points, but we have a couple of million points of known places on that map. And that means that when we get a new tag list, we take that tag list and we put that into this embedding space, and then we see what the closest neighbors are of our known tags, of our known places in there. And that is a way so that we have without needing to handcraft rules and logic into it, or but more to have an AI model learn from these couple of millions of examples, so that it gets an intuition of what a tag means, so that it gets a confidence score of what each new tag means. And this is the basis of Systema Machina. And we have these. We worked a couple of years before we had it, so now we have millions of examples. We put these examples into our embedding space, some of them that we could use, and now we don't need to handcraft them anymore. That's the principle of Systema Machina. I can show exemplify what this looks like. So let's see if we change it to bear with me. So this means that here, the demo. So Systema Machina is now an AI model that we have built an app around. So you take your tag list, you upload it, and you tell the machine some basic metadata of it. So here, this is a real example that is not known to the model before, a Larmia system. You give it some basics so that it understands contexts that are not in the tag list, and not necessarily in the tag list. The country and some things that are also part of this embedding space, and then you let the system go, and line by line, tag by tag, point by point, it places it into this embedding space and sees what the neighboring tags are, to gauge a confidence score of whether it's very, very close, whether it's obvious what it is, or if there are no neighbors close to it, it gets a lower score. And in this case, it was these 3,500 tags that Systema Machina is now working through. And you see that some of it comes back with a high score, auto-mapped. Some needs review, which means that it's quite good. It's a probable match around 80, above 80, but below 90 something percent. I think it's set up to. And then the processes that we look through them, that's a subset of tags, and we can verify whether they are correct or not. And we'll see what that process is in a second. And this here with this real tag list of 3,000 tags that it hasn't seen before, this is doing what took a month the first time we did it, what took a week, a couple of weeks, a couple of years ago, and what took at least days. End of last year before we had a trained Systema Machina. But that's also sort of yesterday's news, because what we don't have time to click around in apps to do this. So we have built an MCP for Systema Machina so that our agents can use Systema Machina. So what we really do now is not that we click around and upload a tag list, but that we have an agent who knows how we interact with Proptech OS, who can check what is there, that can use Systema Machina, and that can apply its own reasoning in the low confidence cases, and that can onboard end to end. So what onboarding really looks like now, here is we created a dummy building, Schrödinger Plaza, which is empty here in Kungsträdgården in Stockholm. There's no building with that name. This is also a real tag list, not known to the model. And so what onboarding really looks like now in practice is like this. Let's onboard Schrödinger Plaza from this tag list, and the system from a tag list. And this, we are working in Jira, so log the work and sort of track this work to a task in Jira. Let's go. And then with the process that we have embedded into our agentic, our onboarding agents, then it will run, and it will stop and ask if there is any unclarity, and if there is no unclarity, it will just go through and onboard, and it will follow the same structure that we have done for 5 years. When we have done this manually. So it's now figuring out what Schrödinger Plaza is, what this system is about, and what this task in Jira is about. And I think we'll see in a second that it will start to build a plan for how to go about this. So here, this is what it will do. A simple 16-step process that it used to take a lot of time. And this one step here, step number 3, that is to use Systema Machina. But as I said, who has time to use apps anymore? We just want the work done. So now it will look at what's already in Proptech OS. We'll see what it has to work with. It will make a run through of the tag list to verify what it is, and that understand what it should do to adjust the format of it. And then it will run Systema Machina. It will do a post Systema Machina review. So the same thing that let's go. We can actually look at both running side by side. So Systema Machina has been running at the same time. It's gone through 1,500 tags, 323 of them needs review, and the onboarding agent will do the same thing. But it will also, we have a lot of examples for our onboarding agents also, so it can apply its common sense. if it's a Swedish tag list, to see if we have a known dictionary or a known process or a known tagging standard. If it's Norwegian, we have a different one, and it can see if we can have it would be very, very slow and expensive to have an LLM look at each and every tag. But if we have 4,500 and we have the only a couple of hundred of them to look at, not manually, but to have the LLM to think, reason, and model, then that's perfectly feasible. And after review, we can add new places to our map, to our embedding space. So we have the chat, we have the Q&A, and the Q&A is only visible to us. We can get back after the webinar, or we can take it live. If there's anything here that we should, I think this is we're pretty proud of what we have done, but it is running it is easy, but building it wasn't, and understanding what it is also isn't that simple. No. So let's make sure we use the time now when this runs in the background to go through and take questions that comes up. Yeah. So while this runs, as you see, the actual onboarding part of onboarding is it's not that big part of the work anymore.
No.
So it comes to what used to be 80% onboarding work and 20% working with our partners and customers. Have just shifted to 95% working with getting access and understanding what should be done, and then the onboarding part of it has shrunk to something that is not a big part of the project anymore.
No, and also instead of working with getting data in, it's more validation and helping the tool with the things that it cannot do on its own if it bumps into things.
And you had a great slide previously about what was needed. But what are the success factors for onboarding, especially nowadays?
I would say that if we get access quite early on, that's the main success factor. Because that's what have been the most of a struggle since I started, at least what I've seen, and I think as well. If we don't get access, it's hard to do the onboarding. So to get that access, also to get these contact persons that we can spend some time with, or just be able to put some questions, that's the main thing. And all the other things, I mean, if we have that, we can help out and be in contact. So we can do most of that work. It's just that we need to have that from you guys. So I think that's the core. Actually,
and not being as you are deep into it and a real expert, but from the outside it also seems like when the onboarding part is more and more, I mean, it's still complex work, but it's more and more handled. Things like IT access, not only access to the system, but networking access and understanding, working with the property owner or the on-site networking and VPN situation has, from being part of the problem, has been sort of with the only real problem that is left.
Yeah, I would say so. So that's why we try to handle that as early as possible in the process with all our customers. Because if you are aware of this from start and you can try to search for these contacts and get these things for us, we can avoid to bump into those things after we have started. So, but yeah, that's So I think that's more, for my work, for example, it's a lot of chasing these things and not so much to sit with actual work together with the onboarding team. So it's more or less to provide them what they need, and then they can start to work with the validation.
And this also means that the testing and validation is now built into the same process. Out of these 16 steps, the last 2 or 3 is validating and reviewing not only the the result in the middle before this what flashes by on the screen before things are onboarded, but looking at what was really the outcome of it is also part of the automated process.
One more thing I want to mention: it's good for the validation part. It's also good to have someone at the customer that could help out, of course, so that we can look together and validate it together. So it's not just our view on what is good onboarding. So that's also part of the success.
And here while we spoke here, Systema Machina is now done. It auto-mapped 2,800 tags, 600 of them that should be reviewed. Could be like this if we would like to click around in an app, but this is also now as we see, we are this automated process, in parallel process. It is now in the Systema Machina phase, where it is mapping sensor IRIs that is Claude code speak for modeling it in real estate core. And the other things that we haven't, as we said, modeling the BIM model. If there is a BIM model, that's something that we can import. If there isn't, there is still manual work to generate that or to clean it up. I expect that as this current generation of AI tools is very good at understanding code and list and text and tags. That's what has been very easy so far. We saw Google Omni yesterday or the day before yesterday. The way the sort of image recognition and understanding spatial and graphical worlds, I think that will also improve. But we haven't worked as much with that. It's historically hasn't been that much a big part of the problem. Worth mentioning here also is that why were this part of the process about Jira and tasks? That is because we just when we talked about our expert agents in Proptech OS, the previous webinars, having a safe and secure setup with these agents, whether they are doing onboarding or analyzing ventilation systems, is just the same. So any agent that interacts with Proptech OS, they are doing that on a just-in-time basis and what is called zero standing privileges. So the onboarding agent that is now onboarding this system at this Schrödinger Plaza demo building, before it started, it had no access to Proptech OS, and it explained for a part of Proptech OS, which is called Keymaker, what it needed to do. It pointed to Jira and said that this is not me making it up. This is something that we actually need to do. It's in our project management system. And then it got a temporary access to do not anything, but only exactly what it needed to do. So only onboarding digital twins to this specific building, and the last part of the process is taking away those privileges, which only existed for the time of the work. And this is also part of anything with great power comes great responsibility. I don't know, is it Spider-Man or what is it? But having the guardrails and the sort of the policy framework around what an agent can do is absolutely crucial. That you are still responsible for the agents that do work for you, and setting them up in a safe context is just as important as having them be able to do what they should do, and making sure they cannot do anything else is just as important.
I know that we are close to wrap up, but
we can see it is now. I think what is a little amazing, I think, is that the last. Let's speed this up a little bit. We have been, I think, really pushing the boundaries of what to do in live demoing. But so this is now 16 minutes into an onboarding process that had 4 lines of input, manual input. And as you see, now it has created these stories and the rooms that was referenced in the tag list. And 16 minutes into it, all of these devices have been created. They are modeled, each and every one. They are reviewed, and they are put where the tag list indicates. The next step would be to have a BIM model that would, I think, this is a real tag list from a real building. It's not Schrödinger Plaza at Hamngatan 21, but it has more than 24 rooms, and some of these devices that have been created are in other rooms that the BMS doesn't know anything about, and that would be the next step. But I think, as you see, this sort of what is left is just to verify what the machines are doing and to stand ready if they run into something that they don't know what to do about.
And the last validation afterwards. To see that everything looks
you're always still responsible for what your agents are doing. It's that part isn't automated.
And just a last comment. I mean, I just know we had an example of how good or how this helps us. We onboarded a whole portfolio for a customer. It was a couple of weeks ago. During 1 week, if I remember.
I think in 3 days we onboarded 15 different buildings with 2 systems in each building, and including 3 or 4 spatial models for one customer. And I think the week after we had a different customer that had a more homogeneous portfolio. And then we onboarded 17 buildings with 17 systems of the same kind. And we did that in 3 hours. And this is sort of getting the perspective of going from a month down into, this was a real illustration in 16, 17 minutes. We can, only guess what happens when we have this webinar next year.
But now I think we have to wrap up. But we will have a deep dive session.
Click the link, join the deep dive sessions.
It's in the bottom of the screen.
And like and subscribe, share.
And you will of course get the recording sent after. If you want to share this webinar with your colleagues.
And here is the summary of what the agent done, onboarding completed, ticket transition to test, and these are all the things that it created, and that it validated, and that it not only figured out what to do, but actually created it in Proptech OS, for example, is now there. See you next time in the revenue management webinar, or in a few minutes in the deep dive room.
If you want to put questions to us, you just join this link, and let's have some discussions. Big thanks for joining today. And you see how excited we get.
Yeah.
So
thank you and
so
have a
much.
good day. Thank you for
Have a
spending your
good
morning
day.
with us.
Yeah.